You're standing in your home, surrounded by items that have accumulated over the years. Marie Kondo's revolutionary concept of sparking joy has transformed how millions view their possessions, encouraging us to develop a more mindful relationship with the objects we keep in our lives. Today, we're diving deep into 33 specific items that might be weighing down your space and your spirit without adding value to your daily life in 2025. Placemats are those seemingly innocent dining table accessories that we've all collected over the years. You might have received them as housewarming gifts, picked them up during seasonal sales, or inherited them from family members. While they serve a purpose, many of us have far more than we'll ever use. Think about those holiday-themed placemats that only see the light of day once a year, or those fancy ones you're saving for special occasions that never seem to arrive. Moving on to broken key rings, these small metal circles might seem harmless, but they represent a larger problem in our homes. We often keep them thinking we'll fix them or find a use for them someday. They lurk in junk drawers, collect at the bottom of bags, and somehow multiply when we're not looking. But let's be honest. When was the last time you actually repaired a broken key ring instead of just using a new one? Old film negatives hold a special place in our hearts and our storage spaces. In this digital age, these delicate strips of photographic history often sit in boxes, slowly degrading. While they hold precious memories, many of us don't even own the equipment needed to view or process them anymore. It's time to consider digitizing these memories and letting go of the physical negatives that are taking up space and potentially deteriorating. Binder clips are office supplies that seem to reproduce on their own. We buy them for specific projects, but they often outlive their intended purpose. You might find them cluttering desk drawers, holding together papers you haven't looked at in years, or scattered across various rooms. While they're undeniably useful, having dozens or even hundreds is probably overkill for the average home. Car wax that's been sitting in your garage since your last vehicle deserves attention. These products have a shelf life, and expired car wax can actually damage your vehicle's paint rather than protect it. The automotive industry constantly develops new and improved formulations, making those old bottles not just unnecessary but potentially harmful to your current vehicle's finish. Old trophies carry emotional weight, but often collect dust in basements or attics. These symbols of past achievements hold memories, but they don't need to physically occupy space to preserve those moments. Consider photographing them and keeping just the most significant ones. Many organizations accept donated trophies, refurbishing them for new recipients and giving them a second life. Bookmarks seem innocuous enough, but many of us have accumulated far more than we could ever use. From promotional freebies to cherished gifts, these paper and metal page markers often sit unused while we reach for the same favorite one repeatedly. Digital reading has also reduced our need for physical bookmarks, making many of our collections obsolete. Broken hole punchers represent our tendency to hold on to office supplies well past their usefulness. These mechanical devices often break in ways that make repair impractical, yet we keep them around hoping for a miracle fix. Meanwhile, they take up valuable desk or drawer space that could be better utilized. Address books, while once essential, have largely been replaced by digital contacts in our phones and computers. Yet many of us hold on to these outdated paper versions, complete with crossed-out entries and illegible scribbles. They represent a bygone era of organization that's been superseded by more efficient methods. Excess envelopes accumulate from various sources: business mailings, greeting card sets, or bulk purchases we never quite used up. They sit in drawers, perhaps slightly yellowed or with outdated addresses printed on them. While having some envelopes on hand is practical, storing hundreds just in case doesn't make sense in our increasingly digital world. Car touch-up paint from vehicles you no longer own serves no purpose except to remind you of past cars. These tiny bottles take up space in garage cabinets or workshop drawers, often drying out or separating before we ever need them. Even if you still own the vehicle, touch-up paint has a limited shelf life and may no longer match your car's faded paint. Ticket stubs hold memories of concerts, sporting events, and special occasions. While they're meaningful mementos, they often end up stuffed in drawers or boxes, slowly fading and deteriorating. Consider creating a digital archive of these memories through photographs, allowing you to preserve the memories while freeing up physical space. Napkin holders might seem like practical kitchen accessories, but many homes have several unused ones tucked away in cabinets. Perhaps they were gifts, or maybe your style preferences changed. Whatever the reason, these items often collect dust while we use more practical or aesthetically pleasing alternatives. Broken tape dispensers are particularly frustrating items to keep around. They sit in office drawers, partially functional but unreliable. We hold on to them thinking we might fix them someday, but replacement is usually more practical than repair for these inexpensive items. Old photo albums, especially those with adhesive pages that have lost their stick, present a preservation challenge. While the memories they contain are priceless, the albums themselves might be doing more harm than good. Consider digitizing these precious photos and storing the originals in archival quality containers if they're truly irreplaceable. Excess thumbtacks multiply mysteriously in desk drawers and craft supplies. While they're useful for hanging posters or creating bulletin board displays, most households only need a small number. The extras often become a safety hazard, hiding in carpet fibers or falling into forgotten corners. Consider keeping just a small container and donating the rest to a school or community center. Car air filters from previous maintenance jobs shouldn't be taking up garage space. These are maintenance items that need regular replacement, but keeping old ones serves no purpose. Some people keep them as references, but modern vehicles have clear documentation about proper filter sizes and types, making these dusty remnants unnecessary. Event programs from concerts, plays, and sporting events hold special memories, but often end up forgotten in boxes. While they capture moments in time, these paper mementos frequently yellow and deteriorate. Consider creating a digital scrapbook of special events, photographing significant programs, and recycling the physical copies that hold less emotional value. Unused drawer organizers represent good intentions gone astray. Perhaps they didn't fit quite right, or maybe your organization needs changed. These plastic or wooden dividers take up valuable storage space themselves while not serving their intended purpose. Consider donating them to someone who can use them rather than letting them collect dust in your own storage areas. Broken letter openers, often received as gifts or corporate promotional items, linger in desk drawers long after they've lost their functionality. In an age where digital communication dominates and most envelopes are designed for easy opening, these items have become less essential. Yet many of us hold on to broken ones out of habit or misplaced sentimentality. Old encyclopedias, once the crown jewels of home libraries, have largely been superseded by digital resources. These heavy volumes occupy significant shelf space while containing increasingly outdated information. While some vintage encyclopedias have collectible value, most sets from the late 20th century are more burden than treasure. Consider donating them to artists who use books in creative projects. Excess rubber stamps, whether from crafting phases or business needs, often sit unused for years. Ink pads dry out, rubber deteriorates, and styles change. Yet these items continue to occupy craft room space. If you haven't used them in the past year, it might be time to let them go or donate them to a school's art program. Outdated car antifreeze should never be stored long-term. This hazardous material requires proper disposal and loses effectiveness over time. Keeping old containers creates unnecessary risks, especially in homes with children or pets. Take these to appropriate recycling facilities rather than letting them clutter your garage. Wine corks may seem like potential craft materials, but they often end up as just another form of clutter. While some people successfully repurpose them into creative projects, many collections just gather dust. If you're not actively using them for a specific purpose, consider donating them to organizations that actually recycle corks or use them for art projects. Unused spice racks, especially those designed for specific jar sizes that you don't use, waste valuable kitchen storage space. As cooking habits change and spice organization preferences evolve, these specialized storage solutions often become obsolete. Consider whether a more flexible storage solution would better serve your current needs. Broken pencil holders continue to occupy desk space even when they can no longer reliably hold writing implements. While some can be repaired, many remain in perpetual states of almost fixed. Replace damaged desk accessories with functional ones to maintain an efficient workspace. Old diploma frames, especially those that don't match your current decor or have been replaced with newer frames, often end up stored rather than displayed. While the diplomas themselves are important, outdated or damaged frames serve no purpose. Consider reframing significant documents in current styles or storing them in archival quality containers. Excess staple removers demonstrate how office supplies can multiply beyond reasonable needs. Most home offices only need one reliable staple remover, yet many people have several tucked away in different drawers. These tools can be donated to schools or offices where multiple users might actually need them. Outdated car windshield wipers kept just in case rarely prove useful. Wiper blades deteriorate whether they're on your car or sitting in storage. The rubber becomes brittle and loses effectiveness, making stored wipers potentially useless when you actually need them. Keep only current, properly sized wipers for your existing vehicles. Broken USB cables represent a peculiar form of modern clutter that seems to multiply in our drawers and tech boxes. We often keep these damaged cables, their ends frayed or connectors loose, thinking we might repair them or use them just in case. However, as Marie Kondo would point out, keeping broken items creates stagnant energy in our spaces. These cables, often tangled and unusable, not only take up physical space, but also create mental clutter every time we have to sort through them to find a working cable. Consider thanking these cables for their service and responsibly recycling them at an electronics disposal facility. Old remote controls tell a story of technological evolution in our homes. They pile up in drawers and boxes, some belonging to devices we no longer own, others superseded by universal remotes or smart home technology. These controllers, with their mysterious unlabeled buttons and missing battery covers, are perfect examples of what Marie Kondo calls kimono, or miscellaneous items that need careful evaluation. When you hold each remote, ask yourself, does this still control a device I own? Is it a necessary backup? Or am I holding onto it out of habit? Most importantly, does having this remote contribute to the joy and functionality of my living space? Expired printer cartridges often lurk in home offices and desk drawers, sometimes still in their original packaging. We keep them thinking they might still work, or we feel guilty about their cost. However, these cartridges can actually damage your printer if used past their expiration date, and their presence creates what Marie Kondo calls noise in your space. Items that distract from the things that truly matter. Instead of keeping these potentially harmful items, consider establishing a system where you only purchase cartridges as needed and immediately recycle empty or expired ones through proper channels. This approach not only creates more physical space, but also aligns with the KonMari principle of mindful consumption. Finally, old theater playbills, while charming mementos of enjoyable performances, often end up forgotten in boxes or drawers. Unless you're actively collecting them or using them in a display, these paper items gradually deteriorate and take up space that could be better used. Consider creating a digital archive of special performances and keeping only the most meaningful programs. This comprehensive look at common household clutter items reveals a pattern in our attachment to objects that no longer serve us. Each category represents not just physical clutter, but often emotional attachments and, just in case, thinking that can prevent us from living more organized, purposeful lives. By thoughtfully evaluating these items and making conscious decisions about what to keep, donate, recycle, or discard, we can create more functional and peaceful living spaces. Remember, the goal isn't to get rid of everything, but to surround ourselves with items that truly add value to our lives. As you consider these 30 categories of potential clutter, Think about what similar items might be taking up space in your home. The process of decluttering isn't just about creating physical space, it's about making room for new experiences and possibilities in our lives.